Hi, first I'd like to thank you for finding our video on optimizing a complete HVAC system. And my name is Mark Trudeau. I'm a Six Sigma Master Black Belt. Recently I had a project where I wanted to work on our HVAC system and optimize it. So I put together this presentation, how to set up and calculate important metrics in a complete heating, ventilation, and air conditioning system. And it was designed for any room in any structure, including houses, businesses, manufacturing. In my case, I have one big room in a business. And I have this separated into 7 parts. An optimal HVAC system is defined as one, you got a room or a house size in cubic feet, CF. You have an HVAC blower, which is CFM, cubic feet per minute is the speed in which the air comes out. Number 3 is air changes per hour, and that's the amount of times the air change in a room in 1 hour. That's what you want to be concerned with, because you want to exchange the air in the room. Number 4 is supply and return air ducts. Every room in a house has supply air ducts that bring air in and return air that take it out, and you got to make sure all those are working properly. Number 5 is allergenic air filters. You want to have air filters in your system that are proper. Number 6 is a fresh air exchange unit, and what that is after you get everything working, there's a unit called a fresh air exchange unit that brings fresh air in from the outside and brings it in to the inside, so it brings fresh air in, just like it sounds. And number 7 is ultraviolet lights, and ultraviolet lights kill viruses, they kill germs and bacteria, and so you want that in your optimal system. First, we're going to talk about room size. Basically, just measure the width, length, and height of the room and multiply them all together. And if it's a house or a business, lots of different rooms, you just add them all up. And in this example, my room was 64 feet wide, 59 feet long, 9 feet high. And so I calculated that actually my room had 33,984 cubic feet. That was interesting. Next one is, number 2 is the HVAC blower. Now every system, your furnace air conditioner system, has a blower, and that blower is going to be blowing things out at a certain speed, CFM, cubic feet per minute. And every blower has a rating on it that states the CFM or the cubic feet per minute the system has, and how much is being returned. And if it doesn't, your heating rep can tell you exactly what your CFM is for your system. And in our example, our blower is 1760 CFM, which was interesting when I found out. And we have actually in our business, there's 3 different systems, 3 furnaces, 3 air conditioners, 3 systems. So we multiply the 760 times 3 and we get 5,280 CFM. That's what my particular example has. Number 3, air changes per hour. Now what we want to do is calculate, given those numbers, how many times per hour, that's what they use, does the air change in my business. That's the standard. If you were going to talk to somebody's business and say, how many times do you change the air in this place, that would be ACPH. That's what they would quote back to you. ACPH is the metric used to describe this. It's actually CFM times 60 because it's per minute. Cubic feet per minute times 60 changes it to an hour, and divide that by your cubic feet. And in our case, what we have is 5,280 times 60 divided by this. It's 9.32. And so the air in our room is changing 9.32 times per hour. And is that good? So I did some research and found out, well, basements typically are 3, bedrooms you want to have 5, bathrooms, stores, and gyms you want to have 6, restaurants and churches are 8. So mine being at a 9.32, where our business is actually a gym, it's a martial arts school, and so 9.32 looks pretty good. That was interesting, and what got me thinking about this a few days ago was on TV when a guy on TV was talking. He worked at the casino, and they were asking him what the air how the air was in the casino, and he had stated that it was his ACPH was 14. So I thought, is that good? Is that bad? Not really sure what that is. So after doing all my research, I found out, yeah, they're doing pretty good. But also, when you talk about casinos, they got a lot of cigarette smoke they're trying to get out of the casino. So it makes sense. Um, Next is this looks like the same one. Number 4 is supply and return air ducts. Uh, what to be concerned with here is balancing these. A room has a number of air ducts that are either bringing air in, their supply, or they're taking air out. That's a return. And while having many of these supply and return ducts are great, you need to make sure that they're balanced. And unfortunately, most of the houses, most businesses are out of control. They don't even know what their balance is, and this is very frustrating. I actually did this a few years ago here at my school, at my business, and there's companies that come out, they're called air balance companies, and they will check, they spend a few hours on all these air ducts, the supplies and the returns, and they measure how much air is coming out, how much is leaving, and they balance them all properly. And it's that the reason to be concerned with this is if you had all of your air coming out of one supply, at 90% of it was coming out of one air duct, that's not good. It's not going to help the whole situation. Same thing if you're pulling all the air in from one location, that's not a good thing. In a house, you want all of the air ducts working properly so it keeps a balance throughout the whole house. And in my business, I want everything balanced also, same thing. In this example, for our particular business, we had 21 supply air ducts, 15 return air ducts, and the air balance technician came out. We were terribly unbalanced. They balanced them all perfectly, and now I can relax knowing that everything is perfectly balanced. And like I said, if it's not balanced, what's the point of having the optimized system? Everything has to be balanced. Number 5 is allergenic filters. Now, the filters you put into your furnace are very important. They do two things. They protect people, and they protect the HVAC system itself. It keeps dirt from getting into the heating system. There's a certain scale on air filters called the MERV scale, minimum efficiency reporting value. Now, this scale tells you how good the air filter is, and they rate it from 1 to 20. A rating of 1 means it's not a good filter at all. It's just in there and it's probably made out of fiberglass fibers and it's not stopping anything. And a MERV rating of 20 means it's a monster. It's stopping everything possible and nothing's getting through. Now, you don't want to have either one of those. It's very complicated. I did a lot of reading on this. The systems, all the calculations, very complicated to know what filter to have. But what I did find was a nice article. It's right here. It was in the New York Times in 2019. They did a whole study on filters and which ones to use, and what their results were, data and everything. It was wonderful. And their recommendation for all furnaces was to use a MERV rating of 8 to 13. 8 to 13. And they said if you're concerned with allergies, you want to have an 11. So now, when you go to Lowe's or Home Depot and you want to buy your filters, of course you go into the aisles and there's 100 filters and you don't know which one. There's $1, they're $50. Which one am I supposed to buy? Now we know, look for the MERV rating and buy an 8 to 13. And you can also, if you wanted to test for yourself, look at the different MERV ratings and you can kind of compare the filters and see why there's a MERV rating to begin with. You can tell just by looking at the filters. In our example, we decided to use a MERV 11 on all the filters, and because we are concerned with the allergies and we want to get the allergies out also, so we stuck with an 11. 6 is an fresh air exchange unit. Now, as I said, we wanted not only to circulate all this air, but I want to bring fresh air in from the outside, brand new air. So this is called a fresh air exchange. And in our business, which is martial arts, is sort of a gym, it's important to get the fresh air in here. So any HVAC company can install these, and you have to do it near the roof and put in all these dampers, and it works with your HVAC system. In our example, we have 3 HVAC units. We had 3 fresh air exchangers put in, and they're all set at 20%, which is the standard for all units. So what that means is 20% of the air that we're blowing back out here in our business is brand new air. And That's what we want. Very good fresh air. Uh, Number 7, ultraviolet lights. Now this one's, at this point we have optimized the entire system. We're pulling air out of the room, we're pushing it back in, it's all balanced, proper CFMs, we're introducing 20% fresh air, we have allergenic filters. Now this is the last step. Ultraviolet light is known to kill anything it comes near. All viruses, bacteria, fungus, germs, everything. And for instance, this includes eyesight, which is why you can't look at ultraviolet lights. In this case, you put the ultraviolet light in the return air duct coming out of the system. That's how they do it in HVAC systems. So now all the air that passes through and comes back into the room is passing by this ultraviolet light and dying right away, instantly. And in our case, we have 3 HVAC units, so each one had an ultraviolet light installed. And that was the last step of optimizing this system. So in summary, we now have an optimized heating, ventilation, and air conditioning system. Air and supply return ducts are all balanced properly. Our air changes per hour are a tremendous 9.32. We have installed a fresh air exchange unit on each one, standard 20% rate. We got allergenic filters in place with a MERV rating of 11. And drum roll please, we got ultraviolet lights installed to kill anything that comes through it. And in my opinion, this is an optimized HVAC system. And I would love it. Any comments? Welcome. If I'm missing something, if you think I'm off, let me know. And I'd love to redo this, but as of right now, this is the optimized standard in my mind. So thank you very much for listening. Have a great day.